Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Navin, and today we'll be doing part 3 of CMAT DI. So, as usual, in all the parts, we'll be solving at least 2 sets of DI, and we will see how we can attempt the sets quicker and faster. How do we analyze the given pie chart, tables, bar graphs, line graphs, and so on. Okay, so let's quickly begin, and don't forget to give a like. So the first set is, study the following instructions carefully and answer the questions given below. The table chart shows the production of sugar by 5 different factories. So these are A, B, C, D, E. And the brands A, B, C, D, E, production percentage in the table is there. And the line chart shows the percentage of sale out of the total production in respective years. So it's not necessary that if you produce, let's say 100 pencils, all 100 pencils will be sold, right? So production is one thing and sales is the other thing, right? So here it is given that the total production is 5000 kg, okay? And brand A produced 25% of that. Brand B produced 22% of that. Brand C produced 20% of it, 15, 18. If you add all of this, this is going to give you a total of 100%, which makes sense, right? Now, out of whatever brand A has produced, not everything was sold, but only 30% of that was sold. So the sales part is about that. So once we have understood how to relate the line graph and the table in this set, we can go ahead and solve the questions. So the first one is, in which of the following factories is the sale of the sugar the highest? So 25% of 5000, if you remember. So this is 1/4 of 5000, which is going to be 1250 kgs. Then 22% of 5000, which is going to be 1100 kgs. Then it's going to be 20% of 5000, which is going to be 1000. 15% of 5000, which is going to be 750. Next, it is going to be 18% of 5000, which is going to be 900. Once we have the values, now we can go ahead and calculate it, right? So it's going to be 30% of 1250. 40% of 1100, 30% of 1000, 50% of 750, 60% of 900, right? This is how we would generally proceed. Now, we're not going to use this approach. So I just told you what is going to happen. Now, if I want to calculate what is going to be the total sale of factory A, can I say it's going to be 30% of the production of factory A? And the production of factory A is going to be 25% of 5000. If I ask you what will be the total sales of factory B, so we will be saying 40% of, from here the total production is 22% of 5000, and so on and so forth for CDE. Now, if you see the calculations, what you will realize is 5000 is throughout consistent, right? So base is not important when comparing, right? If 3 is greater than 2, then 3% of 5000 will be greater than 2% of 5000 also. Also, percentages are also same. So ye bhi aap hata do. You can eliminate that also. Which means we will end up with multiplying 30 and 25. We will end up multiplying 40 and 22, and so on and so forth. And the products that we'll be getting, we will see which one is the highest. Bas yahi karna hai. So, if I talk about factory A, it's going to be 30 into 25, which is going to be 750. 40 into 22, which is going to be 880. 30 into 20, which is going to be 600. 50 into 15, which is going to be 750. 60 into 18. Now, 18 into 6 is what we need, which is going to be 108 and followed by a 0. तो आप यहां पर देखोगे कि हाईएस्ट ये है E. So our answer is going to be E. Right? I hope you guys understood what I am trying to say here. ठीक है, ये ऑप्शन E होना चाहिए था. Option which says E, option number is D. Okay, let's look at the next one. What is the ratio of sugar sold by factory D and E together to the sugar sold by factory B and C together? Now, this is same as the percentage or the comparison ratios. जब भी आपको magnitude calculate नहीं करना है, whenever you have to calculate fraction, percentage, ratios, you don't need the base. So here 5,000 is irrelevant. Let's do the same calculation. For D, if you remember, it is going to be 50 into 15, which is 750. For E, if you remember, it was 60 into 18, which was 1080. So the sum is going to be 1830. जैसे ही 1830 आ गया रेशियो में, so will 1830 simplify and give you 44? नहीं, 1830 is not in the table of 44, right? So this goes away. Next is 1830 in the table of 233 or 1150, and then I don't think so it is in the table of that. Is it in the table of 133? No. So answer is going to be C or E. Unfortunately, we have the option E, so we will have to go ahead and check for factory B and C together as well. So B का calculate करते हैं. It is going to be 40 into 22, which is 880, and 30 into 20, which is going to be 600. The sum of these two is going to be 1480. Now, if you take the ratio, this is pretty obvious that it's going to be C. And anyways, in exams, whenever you have none of the above, तो अगर आप हड़बड़ी में हो, right, if you're in a hurry or if you want to solve it quick, don't waste time over there. So none of the above, you can any day ignore it. Okay, it's very rare that none of the above, none of these is the option. ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं होता है, पर rare scenarios होते हैं. Let's look at question number 3. Sugar sold by factory A and B together is how much percentage more or less than the production of sugar by factory A? So this is related to percentage. Again, we don't need that 5,000. We can straight away go and calculate 25 into 30 is 750. So that's A. If you look at B, this is 40 into 220, which is 880. So question says कि इन दोनों का together, which is going to give us 1630, is how much percentage more or less than the production of the sugar by factory A. So factory A का production जो है वो आपका केवल 750 है. So this is definitely more than 100%. है ना? Numerator is double of denominator. Double से ज़्यादा है, तो 100% से ज़्यादा है. So just like I said before, it's rare, पर यहाँ पर आंसर हो जाएगा none of the above. Right? 100% we don't see in the options. Okay. Next question. If the cost price is 50 rupees per kg and profit earned by factory E on 1 kg is 10% of the cost price, this tells us that the profit earned is 10% of 50 rupees, right? So this is 5 rupees per kg is the profit. So we need to find out total profit. Total profit के लिए we need to find out कितना sell हुआ. So if you look at E, it is 18% of 60, and if you remember that, that was that is supposed to be 60% of 80%, sorry, not 80, 18. So 16% of 18% of 5,000, and we need to multiply this with 5. Why? Because this is the total sales, और ये आपका उसका profit है per kg. So if we multiply this, this will result in total profit, right? So what we can do is we can get rid of the percentages पहले तो percentage हटा दिया. So we need to get rid of 4 zeros. So 10, 20, 30, 40. So we are left with the calculation, which is 6 into 18 into 5 into 5. Now 6 can be broken down as 3 into 2, and 18 is broken down as 9 into 2 into 5 into 5. Now each 2 and 5 will result in 110, so you will have 2 zeros, and then we are left with 3 and 9 ka product, which will give us 27. So the answer is going to be option C, 2700. Right, Ashwin? Okay, next. What percentage of total sugar produced has been sold by all the factories taken together? So ध्यान देना, it's talking about sold and total sugar produced. Now the total sugar produced is 5000. अब इस 5000 का कितना sold है? Can we say 30% of 25% of 5000, 40% of 22% of 5000, and so on? So if I write it 30% of 25% of 5000 plus 40% of 22% of 5000, तो आप ये realize करोगे कि in calculations में 5000 is common in both the numerator as well as denominator. तो आप इनको हटा दो. That means we need to only calculate what is 30% of 25%. Now 30 into 25, if you remember, we have already solved this as 750. Right? And don't forget 2 percentages है. तो एक percentage को अपन रखते हैं, and because of the other percentage, we will put the decimal point. Okay? Now, from the second one, 40% of 22% was 880. Because of 2 percentages, I will leave 1 percentage as such. The other percentage will bring me a point here. Next one, 30 into 20, 600 percentage में एक ये लगा देंगे point, तो 6% हो जाएगा. The next one is 15 into 50, that is going to be another 7.50 percentage. And 60 into 18, which is going to be 1080, so this is 10.80 percentage. So we need to add these. Now 7.5 and 7.5 together will give us 15. 8 plus 6 is 14.8. So we have 15% plus 14.8% plus 10.8%. Now इसको भी 15 अगर मान लिया जाए, because options are pretty far, right? 15 plus 15 is 30, 30 plus 10 is 40, 40 के नजदीक वाला. So the option which is closest to the 40 is 40.6. If you add 0.8 and 0.8 will anyways give you 0.6, right? 16 होगा, तो 16 का 6 will be there at the end and 1 gets carried over. So we did not have to calculate the sales from each factories directly. We can completely ignore 5000, the base, because it was a part of both numerator and denominator. So out of all these 5 questions, what we realized is this question did not require the base. The previous one did. The one before that had no relation with the base, of that is 5000. Uske pehle wala bhi nahi, uske pehle wala bhi nahi. So the only question, there was only one question which required that 5000. So this 5000 was a redundant data, not really helpful in solving 4 out of 5 questions. मतलब 5000 की जगह अगर वो 10000 भी हो तो 5 में से 4 का आंसर वही होने वाला है ना? Okay, let's move over to the next set. A test is conducted in maths and science by the class teacher. Percentage of marks obtained by 4 friends A, B, C and D in maths and science. A, B, C and D in maths is blue and orange is science, is given in the line graph below. Maximum possible marks in maths and science are 400 and 250 respectively. So, once we have read it, let's try to understand. अगर अपन बात करेंगे कि A को maths में कितना आया, so how are we going to calculate? So we are going to look at blue, which says 90%, and the total marks in maths is 400. So we'll say 90% of 400, which is going to be 360. Similarly, science में कितना आया बंदे को? So science में orange, that is 72% of 250. So this is going to give us 250 में से if I take the 2 there, so I will have 36. So this will end in 180. है ना? So this is how we are going to calculate. Similarly for B, similarly for C. So the bases are different, right? As in total marks are different for each of maths and science. तो हम उसी base पे calculate करेंगे, and percentage is given in the line graph already. Let's see what kind of questions we are given. So the first question is, find the approximate percentage of marks obtained by A in maths and science together. So we just calculated A got in maths which is going to be 90% of that 400, which is 360. And in science, A got 72% of 250, which was 180, right? So the total marks he has got is 360 and 180 ka sum out of a total of 400 plus 250. This is how you calculate overall percentage marks, right? It's not sum of the marks divided by 2. ऐसे नहीं calculate करते हैं. अगर आप आज तक वैसे calculate करते आए हो तो आप गलत करते आए हो. That is the wrong approach. It is never calculated like that. So this is going to result in 360 plus 180 is going to be 540 out of 650, which can be simplified to 54 upon 65. We can't simplify this further. पर options देख लो थोड़े दूर है, except for 82 and 83, they are kind of close. So you should be good with percentages, right? So should we do approximation? I am not confident that approximation will help, because if 80% के आसपास तो है. Okay, since two options are close, so let's do the proper calculation. So let's take the 10% of denominator, which is going to be 6.5. Since options are close to 80, so we will calculate 80% of 6.5. Sorry, 80% of 650, not 8%, 80% of 6.5. So we have multiplied this side by 8, so we'll multiply this side by 8. So 6.5 into 8. So 6.5 ka double is going to be 13, and 13 ka 4 times is going to be 52. So we need to reach 54. So we are at 80%. Now, if I calculate 1%, so this is going to be 0.65. If I calculate 3%, this is going to be 1.95. Now, if I add these two, I will get 83% on the left hand side, and I'll have to add correspondingly the right hand side. So 52 plus 1.95 is going to be 53.95. This is the closest that we are getting. So 83% is going to be the answer. ये आपका nearest है. This is how you calculate percentage, right? Suppose you are asked what is 7 upon 23. तो कैसे calculate करोगे? 7 को 23 से divide करने का तो हम है नहीं अपना level. So you take the denominator always and you calculate percentage of that. And this is numerator is your target. Target मतलब आपको उधर 7 तक पहुंचने का है. So आप 10% से शुरू करो. 10% of denominator is 2.3. Now you think 2.3 करते करते 7 तक जाने का है. So how many times should we add, or किससे multiply करें? So if we multiply it by, let's say 3, it's going to be 6.9. If I multiply this by 4, it will be more than 8. तो 4 से नहीं करना है, 3 से करना है. If I do that 3 से, तो दोनों साइड 3 से मल्टीप्लाई हो जाएगा. So यहां तक पहुंचने के बाद can I say the answer is going to be more than 30%? Exact कितना? We will have to move a little further the way we have done it here, right? Okay, let's look at the next question. Who among the following friends has the highest sum of their scores in maths and science? So that means we have to calculate, जैसे A का करेंगे, so 90% of 400 plus 72% of 250. If I calculate for B, it's going to be 80% of 400 plus 75% of 250. यही चलने वाला है. So don't you think it's going to be very calculative if we do all the calculations? So देखो calculation तो पूरा करना ही पड़ेगा, right? There is nothing really we can do over here. चलो कर ही लेते हैं. So if we talk about maths and science, about A, it is 90% of 400, which is 360. Science में it's 72% of 250, which is going to be 180. For B, it's 80% of 400, which is 320. Next, it is 75% of 250, which is going to be a little difficult to calculate. तो अपन क्या करते हैं, थोड़ा approx कर लेते हैं. ठीक है? Instead of 250, 75% of 250, let's do 75% of 240. क्योंकि 240 का 75% is easier. 75% of 240, right? So we are pretty sure 180 से थोड़ा ज़्यादा होगा, right? This is 180. तो 250 में ये थोड़ा और ज़्यादा हो जाएगा. Okay, we don't have to calculate the precise one because right now we are damn sure कि अभी तक A चल रहा highest, right? This is 540 and this is almost 500. तो अभी B तो नहीं है answer. If B is not the answer, so E is also not the answer. Let's go to C. This is 98% of 400, which is going to be 98 ka double, 196, and another 196 ka double. So this is going to be 392. And then 80% of 250. Now 80% is 4/5, so this is going to be another 200. So if we add this, this is 592. So abhi tak to highest apna C chal raha hai. So A also can't be our answer. Okay, let's check D now. 100% of 400, भाई सबको full marks आया था maths में, plus 90% of 250, which is going to be 225. This is definitely more than 600, so we get the answer as highest चाहिए था, so D. D got the highest overall marks. ठीक है? Okay. Next. Marks obtained by D in science, since we have already calculated that, marks obtained by D in science is 225, is approximately what percentage of marks obtained by C in maths? C को maths में 392 आया था. So we need to find out approximate percentage. Now the options are pretty far, right? 62, 70, 75. तो ये ज़्यादा मुश्किल काम नहीं होगा. So if I make this as 225 रहने देते हैं, and if I make this as 400, 392 को simplify कर दिया, nearest value. So this is going to be 225 by 4. 225 by 4 is going to be approximately 56%, right? 225 by 4, 56 होगा करीब करीब. So 56% we have. So if it is, instead of 400, if we have 392, so I will get an answer which is more than 56%. But more than 56%, the nearest is 62. Will we reach there? 60% के लिए आपको 392 का 240 जाना पड़ेगा. That is way too far. So of course only E makes sense, right? Next, how many friends scored less than 220 marks in science and more than 328 marks in math? And it says, right, दोनों simultaneous होना चाहिए. अच्छा, we have a comma in the options, तो separate देख रहे हैं. Simultaneous नहीं, separate. So how many friends scored less than 220 marks in science? So if you remember, in science less than 220, we have 3 students, 180, 180 plus and 200. Right? दूसरा वाला 225 था. So less than 220 marks, we have 3 of them. Since none of the options have the first as 3, so none of the above हो जाएगा. Okay, the next one. What is the ratio of marks scored by A in maths and B in science? A को maths में 360 आया था और B को science में a little over 180 आया था. Right? So it was 360 is to a little over 180. So this should be very close to 2. ये 2 is to 1 है. So actually it should be less than 2. Right? So double से थोड़ा सा कम. So it can't be E for sure. It can't be B for sure. क्योंकि डबल से बहुत कम है ये. A भी काफी कम है. So we are struggling right now with C and D. D cannot be our answer because it says 7 and we don't have a 7 here. 360 में 7 दिखना चाहिए ना, तभी तो आप 7 बचेगा in the ratio when common things will cancel out. Let's do one thing. Let's verify this. So the marks scored by A in maths is 90% of 400, which is 360. And मैथ्स हो गया. साइंस में बी को 75% ऑफ 75 मीन्स 3/4 ऑफ 250 आया था. So if we solve this, this is going to be half of 250, which is 125, and 125 ka half 62.5. If you multiply this by 3, this is going to be 187.5. So we have 187.5. Right? So they both are divisible by 1.5, even 4.5. अभी फिलहाल 1.5 से डिवाइड कर देते हैं. So if I divide this by 1.5, let's divide it by 15, ठीक है? So this is going to go 240. 240 का 1.5 360 होता है. And about this is going to give us 125 का 1.5 187.5 होता है. Okay, now this can be further simplified by 5. So this is going to give us 48 and this is going to give us 25. 48 is to 25. Which one is the closest? Uh-oh, I made a calculation mistake here and in the previous question. Science is 80% and not 75%. I looked at the downward arrow, so that's where the mistake was made. Okay, so this is 80% of 250, which is going to be 200, and this is 360. Oh, this is simple. This is going to be 9:5. So anyways, that's what we assumed कि C ही होना चाहिए. And I think then we made a mistake here as well because we made mistakes here. Let's calculate it properly. In maths, this was 360. This is 300. The next one is 80% of 400, which is 320. The next one is 400. ये सही था. So I made mistake in B and C का maths and science. I interchanged the percentage. 72% of 250, which was 180. We have 80% of 250, which is going to be 200. We have 98% of 250, which is going to be 98, which is 196, and then another 49. So 245. So this is 245. Right. And then we have 90% of 250, which is 225. So the sum is 540, 500, 565, and 625. So the answer to this doesn't change, question number 7. But I think for question number 8, ये change हो जाएगा. Right now, we need to calculate marks obtained by D in science, and D received 225 in science, C in maths, and C received 320 in maths. So they both are divisible by 5, right? So this is going to be 45 into 5 and this is going to be 64 into 5. Now 45 and 64, they are not divisible by any number. But इसका 1.5 times कर लिया जाए. So denominator is going to be 64 plus 32, which is going to be 96, and numerator is going to be 45 plus 22.5. So which is going to give us 77.5. So if 96 becomes 100 now, 77.5 in worst case will become 78 or 79. So thankfully, we were still not wrong. Even though I took a different, or I took a wrong answer, a wrong value, पर ये अभी भी ठीक था. ये गड़बड़ होने वाला है. So how many friends scored less than 220 marks in science? Less than 220 marks, there are two of them, 180 and 200, right? So there are two of them. And more than 328 marks in maths. More than 328 marks in maths, there is only one guy. So option A. So yahan mistake hua. ठीक है. Now let's move over to the third set. 5 farmers P, B, C, A, G have 3 types of pets, which are dog, cat and cow. The pie chart given below shows the percentage distribution of total number of pets among these farmers. The line graph given below shows the percentage distribution of the number of cows, dogs and cats among the given farmers. Okay? So these are percentage distribution. So total pets, let's understand what this is. So total pets 20,000. 15% of 20,000, which is going to be 3,000. So Pawan has total 3,000 pets. Us 3,000 ka 45% of 3,000 is cow, 35% of 3,000 is cat, red color, and 20% of 3,000 is going to be dog. So which will result in 45 into 3, which is going to become 1350. 35% of 3,000 is going to be 1050, and 20% of 3,000 is going to be 600. If you actually add these three, ये वापस से 3,000 बनता है, which is for Pawan, total number of pets that he has, right? Once we are able to understand, how to relate the pie chart and the line graph by taking one example, we are pretty sure we will be able to do it for Bobby, Chandu, Ajit, सबके लिए चलेगा. Once that part is understood, we can go ahead and solve the questions. How many dogs do Pawan, Bobby and Ajit have together? Well, if I talk about Pawan and dog, that is blue line, that is going to be 20% of 15% of 20,000. If I talk about Bobby, he is going to have, Bobby ka blue is 40, right? So 40% of Bobby is 25% of 20,000. And if I talk about Ajit, Ajit is the second last guy here. So for him, we have to look at blue, which is 44 there above. So 44% of Ajit here is purple, 19% of 20,000. Now, if I have to add these three, what I will realize is that 1,000 and percentages, they will be taken care of. Dekho, 20 into 15 plus 40 into 25 plus 44 into 19. And don't forget the 2 percentages and that 20,000. So what I was saying is these 2 percentages will take care of 4 zeros. तो आपको ये ऐड करना है और उसको फिर एक into 2 करना मत नहीं भूलेंगे. So all the options, they don't end in 0. Some of them end in 2, some in 4. So हमें थोड़ा ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा. 20 into 15 is going to be 300. 40 into 25 is going to be 1,000. And 44 into 19 is going to be 836. And let's not forget to double it. So 836 plus 300 is 1136 plus 1,000, which is 2136 ka double, which will give us 4272. And D is our answer. Little calculative, but still better than calculating 15% of 20,000 and again 20% of that, right? So we can simplify the expression and make it simpler. Question number 9 ka answer is D. More than 328 marks in maths. More than 328 marks in maths. Acha, haan, 360 and 400. Sorry, I read that as 300. Okay, it should be D. Thanks for pointing that out, Anjila. वो एक बार गलती हो जाती है एग्जाम में ना, तो फिर खुद से दोबारा चेक करने भी गलती होने के बहुत चांसेस होते हैं. Doesn't matter how fluent you are in everything. Silly mistakes can't be ignored that easily. Okay, the next one. The total number of cows that Ajit has is what percentage less than the total number of dogs that Girish has. Now remember, the bases are same and we are dealing with percentage. So वो 20,000 ignore करने का. Let's talk about the number of cows Ajit has. So we will go to Ajit and look at the number of cows, that is green color, which is going to be 18 into Ajit ka share is 19 of all pets, right? And if we look at dogs that Girish has, Girish is the last guy and dogs is blue in color, which is going to be 45 into Girish ka share is 24. So 18 into 19 can be calculated as 18 into 18 plus 1. 19 को 18 plus 1 कर लो आप, या फिर 18 को 19 minus 1 लिख लो. Completely your choice. So this is going to be 342 and 45 into 24 is going to be 540, right? 9 into नहीं, ये तो डबल होगा इसका. 9 into 12 is 108. So this is 1080. एक 2 और multiply करना था. So 1080 is going to be the answer. So the question is, what percentage less is this, right? To make the calculation easier, because options are quite far, I'm going to take that as 340 to make the calculation easier. So if this is going to be 340, let's assume, so kitna kam hai ye? Can we say this is 740 less? So 740 less out of the number of dogs Girish has is 1080. So this will go away. 74 and 108, they both are divisible by 2. So this one will become 37 and this one will become 54. 37 by 54, where do we get it? How close is this? So can we say, had that been 36 by 54, they both are divisible by 9, right? So 9 into 4 and this is 9 into 18 se divisible hai. So this is going to be, this is supposed to be 2 by 3. 2 by 3 is 66%, right? So this has to be very close to 66%. And since I have subtracted it, I think I should go with option A. That's the closest that we are seeing. Since we do have none of these, फिर भी ये एक दिक्कत ही रहेगा. So I'm not going to waste time. I'll go with A. Okay, 66 1 by 3. 66 1 by 3 is precisely 2/3. And, 360 would have been exactly 2/3, right? 360 is 1/3 of 1080. Since this is 342, तो ये 2/3 से तो कम ही होगा. नहीं लेते risk. We are pretty sure कि exact वो तो नहीं है. So none of the above. Since the question doesn't say approximate, so we can completely ignore doing approximation. नहीं करते approximation. Next, find the average number of cats that Pawan, Chandu and Girish have together. So we have Pawan, Chandu and Girish. The alternate guys here, they have together. So cat here would mean the red color. So Pawan has 35% of 15%, right? So I'm going to ignore the percentages like in the previous question. I will be doing 35 into 15 plus Chandu bhai sab ke paas hai red wala 30 into 17, that is the green from the pie chart, and then Girish has 34 into 24, and let's not forget into 2. Why into 2? Because the 2 percentages and 20,000 will take care of the 4 zeros. We'll be left with only 2, you know. Once we get this, we have to divide this by 3 as well. Now the options are again very close, 1284, 1234, you know. So we will have to solve this. So 35 into 15 is going to be 350 plus 175, which is going to give us 525. Plus 3 into 17 is 51, 510. Plus 34 into 24. This is going to be little calculative, which is 340 plus 340, which is 680. And 34 into 4. So 68 का double हो जाता है 136. So this is going to give us 816. Then we have to double this and divide it by 3. Let's not forget dividing it by 3 because we need to calculate the average, right? So this is 1800, 20, 30, 40, 51 by 3 into 2. 18 का 136, 51 का 130, 17 into 2. 6 का double 61, 6 का double is 12, 17 का double is 34. So 1234. 1, 2, 3, 4 is the answer. Hi Yamini, 66.3 hai. It's not 66.33, right? So I can't go with 66 1 by 3 because that's not the exact. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice number. Next, what is the difference between the total number of dogs and cows together that Chandu has? So if you look at dogs and cow, so dog and cow that Chandu has, and the total number of pets that Ajit has. So Ajit ka total. We need to find the difference. So if we talk about the dogs and cows together that Chandu has, this is going to be 25% plus 45%. Can we say we can straight away write 70%? Of Chandu has a total of 17% of 20,000. ये हो गया total dogs and cows Chandu का. And total number of pets that Ajit has. Now Ajit के लिए all I have to do is calculate 19% of 20,000. है ना? So we need to calculate the difference. Okay, so like previously, 20,000 is common. So we can take out 1% and 20,000 outside. So percentage and 20,000 bahar nikal lo aap common. 19 is a larger number, so keep 19 here since we need the difference. Minus 70% of 17. ये बच जाता है because 1% is already out. Now what is 70% of 17? 70% of 17 means 7 into 17 and put a decimal point. है ना? Why one decimal point? क्योंकि एक 0 तो चला ही जाएगा. So this is going to be 19 minus 70 plus 49, which is going to give us 119. So 11.9. And this percentage will take care of 2 zeros. So into 200 is what we need. Now 19 minus 11.9 is going to be 7.1 into 200, which is same as 71 into 20, which is same as 142 and a 0. So 142 and a 0 is option D. Since the options were close, I could not take the risk of doing approximation. So precise solve karna pad gaya. Angela, question number 12. Okay, I will recheck this. Total number of cows that Ajit has. So the total number of cows that Ajit has is 18% of 19% of 20,000. And the number of dogs that Girish has. So Girish has 45% of 24% of 20,000. So this is the percentage that we are trying to calculate, right? तो अब common चीजें हटा देते हैं. So पहले तो percentage pairs will cancel out. Next 20,000 will cancel out. Next 18 is 9 into 2 and 45 is 9 into 5. There is nothing further that I can cancel out. So 2 into 19 is nothing but 38. and 5 into 24 is nothing but 120. This can further be simplified as, hold on, 9 into 2, 9 into 5. Cows of Ajit is 18% of 19% of 20,000. And number of dogs that Girish has. Girish के dogs का हो जाएगा 45% of 24% of 20,000. Right? So 20,000 goes away. 9 into 2 is 80. 9 into 5 is 45. 2 into 19 is 38. 5 into 24 is 120. ठीक है, calculation में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, because this is what we got previously as well, right? So this can be further simplified as 19 by 60. 2 से divide कर लोगे. Now 20 by 60 is 1/3, or we can say 2/3 less, and 2/3 को अपन 66 1/3 भी बोलते हैं, पता है ना? Is this 20 by 60? No, this is 19 by 60. So it's not going to be exactly this. It can't be 48, it can't be 88, it can't be 68. So the option will be none of the above, Angela. Okay? Approximately A option makes sense, but if the options are that accurate, that the percentages are written in fractions, तो हम approximate क्यों करें? क्वेश्चन में लिखा हुआ भी नहीं approximate करने के लिए, right? Okay, next one. What is the ratio of number of cats that Pawan and Bobby together have? So we are looking at Pawan and Bobby together, and we are looking at cat, which is, they both are 35%, thankfully, something easier to calculate, to the total number of dogs that Chandu and Ajit have. So we are looking at dogs, that is going to be the ones in blue color. So 25 and 44. Uska to kuch nahi kar payenge, unfortunately. So we need the ratio. So let's look at cats, which is going to be 35% of, Pawan ka is 15% of 20,000, and that of Bobby is going to be again 35% of 25% of 20,000. इसमें से आप actually 35% of 20,000 common निकाल लो. You are left with 15% plus 25%, which becomes 40%. So our calculation becomes 35 into 40 into 2. 20,000 का 2 क्यों? Remember, the 2% will take out 4 zeros from 20,000. So this is going to contain a number that has a 7. 7 16 में नहीं होता है, 12 में नहीं होता है, 18 में नहीं होता है, तो B हो जाएगा आंसर. I am not going to waste my time calculating that 1261. Doesn't look fun, right? Because if you solve this, this will result in 1400. So 14 नहीं होगा, 2800 होगा. जो भी होगा, it will come down to 1400 only, right? Because 126 is not divisible by 7. So of course it can't get simplified. So option B mark करके आपको सीधे आगे बढ़ जाना. So Angela, I hope now you understood previous question number 12 में कोई गलती नहीं है, right? Okay, so you can be here this year once the CAT results are out. So if you want to be among our CAT 2022 toppers, just like Vinayak and Vidhi and others, you can join our latest batch that we are going to bring it. It's called Comprehensive Program for CAT 2023. We have brought you a CAT learning tablet which will contain hundreds of videos and another hundreds of videos, recorded lectures for you to watch. Classroom sessions where everything from the basic, from the scratch are taught and questions are solved, your doubts are handled. More than 75 mocks, CAT as well as other management entrance tests related. You will be helped with your GDPI and VAT preparation. You will be given practice questions, more than 10,000 of them. You will be given books, 4 books which you can solve in the offline mode, and you will also be given more than 5 years of previous year question papers. Okay, for that you can write our scholarship test, which is supposed to happen on 29th of April at 7 p.m. and you can avail up to 90% scholarship. Okay. On 22nd of April at 7 p.m., Mr. Vikrant is going to take a session, how to ace VARC 2023. So make sure that you register for this. We have limited seats for this. First come, first served basis will happen. The registration for this is, the link for this is given in the description below and also in the chat. Every day from 23rd April until 2nd May, we will bring you every day at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. last lap to CMAT 2023. So we will revise everything in these 10 days, right? CMAT dates are out. So make sure that you subscribe the channel. And if you guys have any doubt, don't be hesitant to write in this chat or in the comment section below. You can also download our app and attempt our daily section-wise quiz and improve your concepts and problem solving in each of the sections. All you have to do is download the app from Google Play and simply start enjoying the app. The link to downloading the app is given in the description below. And with respect to CAT, 500 most expected CAT question series is happening. It started from 6th of April. You make sure that you subscribe and press the bell icon such that whenever the session happens, you're notified about it. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. You can like our Facebook page as well. And you can join our Telegram channel. And you can download our Google Play app. You can download our app from Google Play. Okay. Thank you for joining. I'll see you again very soon. We'll be doing a lot of sessions on CMAT and CAT. Until then, take care. Have a nice day.